Hello everybody, this is Frontto Bobman here and welcome to more of a filler video. I'm slowly starting to get tired of this YouTube thing, so I say that I've been really taking a bit of a break with YouTube and stuff. Well, I say a bit of a break. I haven't really been editing too many videos, but this is a topic that came up today, and Mr. What's His Name decided to do a predictions for the 2020 season, NASCAR Cup Series season, using the tier list. And I've known about this tier list maker thing for quite a while, and I wanted to make a video on it for quite some time. It's just for some reason I've never had the opportunity to do so until today. So in the format of this tier maker thingamajig, I will be predicting how all of these guys are going to do throughout the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season. We may be missing one or two numbers, but we got all the important guys in here as far as I know of. So we're going. So this should still be a very interesting video. So with that being said, let's begin, shall we? Not much else to say, so we shall start. So starting with Quinn Half now, yeah. For some reason, Starcom Racing decided that they didn't want Lenny Counts anymore. And like, let's bring in Quinn Half, a driver who is very unproven, a driver with very little NASCAR experience, and now he's gonna be driving full time for Starcom Racing for the next 2 years now. Why? I really don't know. But as far as performance, yeah, I was like, just so what they have here. You know, I've got Final Four, playoffs, mid-pack, back of the pack, and the very back of the pack. This is basically how I'm going to be ranking drivers. So Quinn Half, for example, I see him going very back of the pack. I do not see Quinn Half doing anything. Who knows, maybe Starcom Racing could terminate his 2-year contract early than everyone expects. Part of me wants this to be the case because Quinn Half, I don't think he's going to be that good. He could surprise me. Maybe he will be good. I really don't know. But for now, I see him being at the very back of the pack. And now for Kurt Busch. Now last year, it was Kurt Busch's first year to begin NASCAR racing. Kurt Busch showed a lot of promise. Yes, he did exit out of the first round of the playoffs last year, but that was really because of accidents and stuff. But I see Kurt Busch making the playoffs again this year because, again, Kurt Busch, he was really good last year. So if he can keep the well, I say really good. I guess he wasn't really good, but he was quite good last year. So if the momentum continues, I see Kurt Busch making the playoffs once again this year. Brad Keselowski, he also had a very solid season last year. Got a few wins and stuff, and so for that, I see him making the playoffs once again, no doubt in my mind. Austin Dillon, last year was, I think, his worst career season since 2014, and that was his rookie year. And the thing about Austin Dillon, well, I mean, I think we all know that Austin Dillon, he's a silver spoon, and the only reason why he's at RCR is because, you know, Richard Childress is like his grandpa or something. So with that said, you know, Austin Dillon, he just has really done nothing impressive apart from win 2 Crown Jewel races in his entire career. And I see Austin Dillon just continuing to be the way that he has been for the longest time. So I see him running mid-pack at best in 2020. Next up is Kevin Harvick. And Kevin Harvick, you know, for the longest time last year, he wasn't super good. But, you know, eventually he did come into clutch, and he did actually show his talent, and he eventually made the Final Four. Didn't, of course, win the championship last year, but that's okay. You know, I'm really not sure whether to put Kevin Harvick in the playoffs or the Final Four, but I say that. There really isn't. I really don't see that many competitive drivers next year, so I think Kevin Harvick is going to make the Final Four again this year. He's probably not going to win the championship this year, but he will at least make it to Homestead. Ryan Newman, I almost thought this was Trevor Bayne for a second, but Trevor Bayne is gone, thank goodness. But yeah, Ryan Newman. Newman, only enough, he made the playoffs last year. Barely. Like, it wasn't until the very last race of the regular season that Ryan Newman secured himself into the playoffs, and he had to beat Daniel Suarez to do it. The thing with Ryan Newman, I don't dislike the guy, but at the same time, he really isn't the best. So I'm actually a bit on the fence of putting me the playoffs or mid-pack. So for now, I'm actually gonna put Ryan Newman into the playoffs because, I'm gonna do something a bit sketchy here. I'm gonna say that I'm just gonna say right now, Ryan Newman is gonna be he's gonna have more competition to deal with for 2020, and for that reason, I think Ryan Newman is actually gonna be mid-pack for 2020. Next up is the rookie in Tyler Reddick. Now Reddick, he's an interesting one because he could either be mid-pack or the playoffs, And there's this common trend that I've been seeing with a lot of the young guns. They just haven't won their first season. And Tyler Reddick, he's going to be going into his first Cup Series season this year. I want to see him make the playoffs, but then again, Reddick, he is driving RCR equipment, so. Oh, it's tough though. Playoffs and mid-pack. But and to be fair, he really hasn't been that well. He wasn't great in the Xfinity Series either, so I think it might be best to put him in mid-pack. I want to see him make the playoffs, but I don't think it's just going to happen with Reddick. Maybe he'll make the playoffs. Maybe he'll surprise me, all of us. I really don't know. But we'll have to see. But mid-pack is where I'm saying he's not going to make the playoffs and stuff. Anyway, next up is Chase Elliott. No question about Chase Elliott. Last year, he was pretty good. He made the playoffs, got far into the playoffs. Although, with how great the competition is, once again, I don't really see Chase Elliott making the Final Four. I think the playoffs is going to be the best that Chase Elliott does for 2020. Maybe he'll make the Final Four if he doesn't die in the round of 8 or something again. But for the meantime, I see him just making the playoffs, and that's as much as we're going to get once again. Eric Almirola. Now, the thing about Almirola is that he's good, but he's not great. So I just see him once again, he's going to make the playoffs, but that's the best that Eric Almirola is probably going to do for 2020. Denny the Hammaster Hamlin. He was really good last year, and I definitely see Hamlin keeping the momentum up for 2020. I think he's going to make the Final Four once again and might even be the 2020 champion. I'm very ready to see that. Ryan Blaney. He's really along the same lines of Chase Elliott, really, except less successful. I do see him making. Yeah, I think really it's not that difficult. Playoffs is really the best that I see Ryan Blaney making it up to for 2020. And now we move on to the plastic spoon in Ty Dillon. Back of the pack, no question about it. Clint Boyer, he's starting. His performance is definitely starting to crumble. I think now age is starting to show. When I don't think he was really ever that good in the Cup Series. I mean, he's only got 8 wins over the span of at least 10 years, and he really hasn't shown any promise at all in 2019. So, and for that reason, I don't really exactly see Clint Boyer making the playoffs. So he's gonna be mid-pack. Number 15, I think this is gonna be Reed Sorensen, but it might. It's really or no. I think Brendan Poole's gonna be in the 15 car, but it's Premium Motorsports, very back of the pack, no question. And now this used to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now it's Chris Buescher, and if Chris Buescher, he now has quite a bit of experience in the Cup Series, and he has shown some promise. So this might come across as a bold prediction, but I see Chris Buescher making the playoffs in 2020. I think it's going to happen. And now we have Kyle Busch, my favorite driver of them all. He was really good last year. As you know, 2019 champion. I think to make the playoffs again, or the Final Four again. Kyle Busch, he is on fire, and I don't think he's going to stop for a while. Same thing with Truex. He also had a really good 20 season. So, yeah, there you go. My prediction of the Final Four is going to be exactly the same as it was for 2020. I could be completely wrong. I mean, exactly 2018. I could be completely wrong, but providing that the trends continue, I think there's going to be our Final Four in 2019. Once again, it's going to be the 3 top-tier Gibbs guys and Kevin Harvick. Eric Jones, however, he really has not been impressive at all. Like I said on Twitter, the thing with Eric Jones is that besides winning 2 races in the Cup Series in his entire career, he has done nothing impressive. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry to the Eric Jones fan base. I like Eric Jones, kind of, but I don't think he's that good. And, at this point, he's become the weak link at Joe Gibbs. So, and I think this year, he's really gonna start. He might even start to crumble a bit. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll slowly improve, but I don't see anything from Eric Jones. So for that reason, well, he may win a race, but I don't know. I think with how great the competition is gonna be for 2020, I only see Eric Jones being as good as mid-pack. He's not going to do anything impressive in 2020. But here we have someone who might be impressive in 2020. Matt DiBarito, gonna be in the number 21 next year, which I think is very cool. And with how good Matt DiBarito was last year, I definitely see him making. I do see him making the playoffs. It's gonna be the Wood Brothers' first appearance in the playoffs. Well, I say since first. Well, maybe first competitive round in the playoffs. Yeah, I definitely think that that DiBarito he's gonna be very good. Yeah, DiBarito. I can't talk anymore. Anyway, Joey Logano. He'll probably make the playoffs based on points, but other than that, I don't see him doing anything special, really. He might win a race or 2, but that's going to be about it. William Byron, same thing. Byron, he was actually he was alright last year, and he made the playoffs, so I think as long as the trend continues for William Byron, I do see him making the playoffs once again in 2020. Here's something that Chad Canals can be a good crew chief and lead his driver to even greater success. And this is going to be his 3rd season. So William Byron may even score his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Will he do it? Possibly. I'm going to say possibly. And then we have number 27. I don't even know who's going to drive that number next year. But I do at least know it's a premium motorsports car. Very back of the pack. No question. Corey LaJoie. The thing about, well, I say that, only enough, this year, Stardust Racing is going to have, no, not Stardust Racing, Go Fast Racing is going to have an alliance, with Stardust Racing, so, I guess the up thing about Go Fast Racing, they're going to have better equipment than they have before, and Corey LaJoie, has proven that he's actually a pretty good driver. And, as Slapshoes once said, maybe Corey LaJoie's the go, and we haven't realized it yet. So, but at the same time, the competition might be too great for Corey LaJoie in 2020. So I see him just running mid-pack at best. And now we have, I think this is Michael McDowell. Yeah, it's from Motorsports. I don't see him doing anything impressive. He's gonna be around there. I like how the number 36 is in this tier list. Yet the number 36 is even going to be around next year because they axed that car after Matt Tiff decided he wasn't going to compete full-time in 2020. But, you know what, it's here. I'm just going to put it back in the pack. Let's just pretend that I said that we can pretend that Matt Tiff is still in the cup field. And yet, he won't be. But the thing is that Matt Tiff, he was so irrelevant last year. So, yeah. And here we have the 37. Now, last year this was Chris Buescher, and only enough this year is going to be Ryan Preece. I'm still used to seeing Ryan Preece in number 47, but this year is going to be driving the 37. I really like Ryan Preece, but it's JDG Daugherty Racing, which is not the best team in the garage. But at the same time, he has proven to be good, so, well, at least pretty good in the past, so I see Ryan Preece running mid-pack at best. I wish I could put him in the playoffs, but the team that he's driving for just isn't that good. Another 38 of John Hunter Nemechek. In the 3 starts that he was in last year, he wasn't actually too bad for the equipment that he was driving. But the truth is, I don't know, I just don't see him doing that good, so probably back at the pack with these guys. 41. Now, last year was Daniel Suarez. At this moment, we have no idea where Daniel Suarez is going to be for 2020. He could be probably might be going down the Xfinity Series again. I have absolutely no idea. But anyway, going back to Cole Custer. He is now the driver of the 41 for next year. Yet driving the same pace that Daniel Suarez drove, which is, well, for the Haas car anyway, which is fine, I guess. And Cole Custer. Now, he is driving the 41 car. However, I think the 41 car may have actually been limited by Daniel Suarez's abilities to drive last year. So I'm thinking that if everything goes to plan, Cole Custer will make it to the playoffs based purely on points. He's not going to win a race, but he will make it in on points. Especially considering how good his Xfinity run was last year as well. Yes, Bubba Wallace. You know, Bubba Wallace, I want to see this team successful, but I don't see it happening. Mid-pack at best. Kyle Larson. There's really no question about Kyle Larson. I mean, the thing about Kyle Larson, along the same lines as these guys, some of these guys anyway, he's good but not great. So, I see Kyle Larson only getting up to the playoffs, either by a single win or based on points. And here are the 47 of Stenhouse. You know, I so thought that when Chris Buescher went over to Roush Family Racing, I thought that Stenhouse would be gone. But no. He's going to literally the same team that Chris Buescher came from, which is going to be JDT Daughter Racing. But knowing Stenhouse's abilities and a slightly worse team, back at the back. Here's Mr. Jimmie Johnson, the guy that everyone seems to love now. Well, I say everyone, really. I shouldn't say everyone. Even still, there are some people that still don't like Jimmie Johnson, say he's washed up and stuff. You know, Jimmie Johnson, he's had his time. He's been good, but I think it's safe to say that Jimmie Johnson is past his prime. And, you know, there is some hype behind Jimmie Johnson for the 2020 season, but I don't see him doing anything impressive for 2020. I'm sorry to say. It's just going to be... It might be worse than 2019, so for that reason, mid-pack for Jimmie Johnson. I'm sorry to Jimmie Johnson's fan base, but I don't see him doing that good next year. At all. Now, 49. I have no idea who's going to be driving this one, but it's a Premium Motorsports car, so very back of the pack. Yeah, so now at 51 of Cody Ware, but it's a Rick Ware racing car. What else can I say, honestly? 52. Now this is, oddly enough, wow. The 52 seems to go between Rick Ware Racing and some other team, but still a very back of the pack team, so goes there. 53. I don't even know who's going to be driving this one this year, but there's no question. It's a Rick Ware car. Now, oddly enough, the 54 car on Rick Ware Racing is oddly enough going to be driven by J.J. Yaley. But it's Yaley every racing car, so if the 54 number was here, I'd put it at the very back of the pack, no question about it. 62. This is for Brendan Gaughan, but you know, still a pretty garbage car, really. And he's only running the plate races, so unless he does something that's insane, very back of the pack for Brendan Gaughan. Now, number 66 for some other team. I don't even know which team this is for, but I know it's a very low-end team, so it's going to be very back of the pack. I like how they put the 77 here. That's going to be driven by Ross Chastain in 2 races, despite the fact, well, yeah, I guess... Well, it's for Spire Motorsports. But it is Ross Chastain, and he is getting support from Chip Ganassi Racing. And Ross Chastain has proven to be a very talented driver. I see him running mid-pack in the 2 races. That's right. Maybe even better than that, you know. I can't actually put him in playoffs because he's only going to be racing in 2 races, so yeah. Alex Bowman. Bowman the Showman. Actually, how many drivers do I have here? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, man. I have one more spot to put in the playoffs because, of course, only 16 drivers are allowed. So, I guess with that being said, Alex Bowman, I guess he's gonna be the final playoff spot for this tier list anyway, because providing that Alex Bowman keeps up the momentum that he had last year, I think he's gonna win another race this year, maybe even 2, maybe 3. Now here's Christopher Bell. You know, Christopher Bell is a tough cookie because he has proven to be the best Xfinity driver, best full-time Xfinity driver in recent years. Yet at the same time, he's driving for Levine Family Racing, which is getting support from Joe Gibbs Racing. But at the same time, you know, it's hard. Is Christian Bell only gonna do as good as Matt Benedetto was last year in this car, or will he be something better? But to be honest, I see him making the playoffs. But seeing as you know, all the guys suck would be really, but I guess you have to choose which one of the drivers is making the playoffs. So but at the same time, you know, I would see him making the playoffs. But at the same time, I also see Christopher Bell being the weakest out of all these guys. So mid-pack for Christopher Bell. I'm sorry. I'd put you in the playoffs, but playoffs only have 16 spots. So yeah. Well, we have most of the tier list filled already with the number 96. So ending off on a pretty anticlimactic note. I don't even know who's going to be driving 96, but I know it's going to be a very back-to-back car, so yeah. And now we have this NASCAR Mino thing for some reason. Very back-to-back was put there for lulz. As my iPad decided to go off for some reason. But with that having been said, driver-wise, these are my predictions for 2020. We might just come back once the season is complete. And you know, it is only January the 16th. But at the same time, I think most of these guys are with their teams and stuff. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't have actually done this until like close to Daytona 500. But at the same time, I think it might be safe to say that most guys are gonna be at these numbers. These drivers are gonna be at these numbers. If that's not the case, and there's a change, like a last minute change before Daytona of who is gonna be driving which car, I might have a comment in the comment section saying blah 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 blah. But to be actually looking back at it though, maybe that won't be the case. I don't know. my skills of predicting the future are they're failing me, to say the least. But yeah, that's all my predictions for 2020. You know what's odd though is that I see Cole Custer making the playoffs and not Bell. But at the same time, I think Custer is gonna really have the best car out of the rookie class for 2020. So I think Cole Custer is the most likely driver to make the playoffs. Add in the fact that Cole Custer was really good last year in the Xfinity Series. So yeah. With that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I feel like I should say something else, but if I miss anything, just again leave a comment if you have a question for me or you want to tell me something or whatever, and I'll respond as soon as possible. But that is now the end of this video, and I shall see you in the next one.